everybody.
Hey.
Welcome to the Wrestling Through the Years podcast. I'm the armchair quarterback Dizzle, and I'm here with my fine feathered friend, the wrestling encyclopedia himself, Dutchy.
I have feathers now?
Yep. And we're here with the man that puts the E in elongated anus. Eric's here, everybody.
What's up? How are you guys?
Doing good. How are you?
Pretty good.
Very good. So we're here to talk the history of the WWE Championship today. The good stuff, the bad stuff, our favorite reigns, our least favorite reigns, some of the best feuds for it, some of the not so good feuds for it. And we're going to be having a discussion around the WWE Championship. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
Is next week the big one? Big.
No, it's not the big gold belt. It's the WWE Championship. The big gold belt's WCW, and then it's the World Heavyweight title. But let's talk designs first, because there's a couple of different cool ones. And I think we can all agree that the old, like the original green one's ugly as shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think even like back in the, like when the Warrior was champion, I think he had a yellow one for a while.
Yeah, it looked like the IC belt.
Well, and then he went with a different color one, I think, for the WWE title. And I'm pretty sure it was yellow. I know he had a yellow Intercontinental for a bit, but I do think the WWF one. And then they switched over to the Winged Eagle title when he dropped it to Slaughter.
They changed it a lot in the 80s, I saw. I was watching a video earlier.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just it just depended on, and I also think too it also depended on
the person.
Yeah.
I know Hogan had his different types of belts, and they named it the Hogan belt.
Yeah.
Because he was the only one that held it in the 84 and 86.
84 to 88, actually.
The green one still, or which one?
Oh, not the green one. The green one was gone. He got the green one in 84, I think. And then afterwards, he started holding on to a different one.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's just the Hogan belt?
Yeah.
Yeah, they call it the Hogan belt.
Nice. Look at this bad boy. What's your favorite design, Doug?
I still say Winged Eagle. Either Winged Eagle or I like the Austin Smoking Skull belt.
Yep, that's my favorite. Or even the Rock one, even though they didn't present that on TV.
Brahma Bull, it was never even on TV, was it? That?
Yeah,
No,
that looks exactly like Hogan's. And then, yeah, that Hogan one.
When did he get the Winged Eagle?
I think the Winged Eagle came in like 91, 92.
That's crazy.
And that changed a little bit too.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, honestly, I like the Attitude Era belt the best. I like the Winged Eagle with the eagles clipped, with the wings clipped, and I think it's a good looking belt. That's probably my favorite one. But I do have a soft spot. I really like the Undisputed title they did in 2002, with the black strap and the gold plate. And I thought that
the original
really
Undisputed one. Didn't they have another Undisputed after, like in 2000?
Yeah, they've had about 30.
That WWE World Heavyweight title that they did for that American Chopper designed.
Yeah.
For part-time Lesnar.
Yes. And then the current Undisputed title, even though there's another title.
Yeah.
Are we counting the Universal, or how is that?
No, because that's what's undisputed now. It's the Universal and the WWE Championship. But the world title, heavyweight title, is a different one. It's hard to keep track. So many belts. Yeah, I like the 2002 belt design. I wish they would have kept with it longer, because they go to the spinner belt like 3 years later.
I actually a spinner belt.
You have a spinner belt?
I wish I did.
Oh, you said you forgot about it?
No, he said he liked it, I think.
I did.
It was all right, but it lasted way too long. And like Punk with the spinner belt was weird, and like I don't know. It worked for Cena, but the fact that they kept it as the norm for like 10 fucking years was kind of insane.
Yeah.
I think CM Punk should have changed it, because that was his thing. He wanted to change everything, so he should have changed the belt himself.
It was just, and I do think it gets a little shit on more than, and that's the belt I grew up with. But yeah, I prefer a big gold belt to that, or the undisputed title they had before that. I think that's a little too. It worked for Cena, and I think it even worked with Edge, and I liked him putting the spinner on it.
Yeah, when he did the rated R one.
Yeah, and I know they did that to sell toys or whatever, but I thought it was cool. And yeah, the WWE. I think the championship they brought in 13 and 14 was pretty good when the
big one.
Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah, that's the one that that was the one that the Choppers designed.
Because that was
they had the big WWE design on it.
Well, no, because there was two. There was one from 13 to 14 too, right? That was like it was kind of the scratch logo a little bit.
Yeah, but then they changed it again and gave because
Rock changed it to that, right? But there was still the world title. And then the world title and the WWE title got unified for the American Chopper.
For the American Chopper.
I think they changed it because they changed the logo for the WWE Network when it came out in 14.
Yeah, that's one of the things that they had that they wanted to represent was the network.
Yeah.
Because it was such a big deal when it first came out. And then it just became one of those things where Vince is just like, let's just sell the like it's still one of those crazy ass things where Vince wanted to save money and he asked Nick Khan. So Nick Khan sold all the content to Peacock. Peacock thought they were just getting the pay-per-views, and Nick Khan said, no, you're getting the whole library. And they're like, what the fuck? He waited until after they signed the contract to let them know what they were actually getting.
See,
how long has Nick Khan been in the company?
He came in 2020.
Okay.
And I'm glad that they have the WWE, the network on Peacock and stuff. And I do find it cool, but I find I especially find it cool for our pay-per-view retrospectives and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I enjoy watching the stuff on the Vault channel.
Well, and that's the thing, because I think Peacock has so much on Peacock, obviously, because it's not just WWE, but like you get your sports talk radio, your football talk radio with Pro Football Talk and the Dan Patrick Show. You get old sitcoms, you get all of NBC's dramas, and all of USA stuff, even though they really don't have anything. Old cartoons, which Eric and I can go back and watch. So there's all sorts of stuff on the network, because I remember back in the day when Peacock first became a thing, and I first signed up for Peacock, because of the network. There was it was some sitcoms, like the more well-known ones, a lot of the dramas, and then the WWE stuff. But now they've just added so much.
Yeah. Yeah, they've added a lot.
Yeah.
And it seems like Peacock probably just doesn't want all that, and that's why they put it on the Vault channel.
Yeah, because there's some stuff that's even that they haven't because I think Peacock even said, when they were doing their classic drops, they ended it a year and a half, 2 years ago. They're like, you know what? We're done putting shit on. We're done putting the classic shit on here. And I think that's one of the reasons why WWE started the Vault channel.
All right, we're going to jump around here a bit. We're not going to go, through the whole list of it or anything. But we'll start with you, Eric, and I'm going to ask you a question here.
Okay.
Not at WrestleMania. So excluding WrestleMania, what's your favorite WWE Championship match you've ever seen? And try not to say the Punk one either, since we just watched it. But I know that's probably up there, and it has a good reason to be. But what's your favorite WWE Championship match at a pay-per-view? Or Raw, or just not at WrestleMania? And And I'm mainly putting that on because of myself, because that's also my favorite WrestleMania match. But
yeah,
maybe The Rock versus Mick Foley in the empty arena match.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Sunday Night Heat.
That's a real good one.
yeah.
I love the I Quit match too. I love both the matches. Yeah. I feel bad because the I Quit match, and with everything we know about CTE now, the I Quit match at Royal Rumble 99 is uncomfortable to watch for a lot of people. But, Mick Foley seems fine to me. So I can go back and watch it, and I find it very entertaining. And the fact that Rock hit him with so many chair shots. And I think that was a great way to get – because Empty Arena's after this, right?
Like the week after. It was basically something – they wanted a reason for people to watch Heat instead of –
the Super Bowl
instead of the Super Bowl halftime show.
Well, that's when a lot of other programs were doing that. That's how Celebrity Deathmatch started.
Yeah,
the Death Bowl.
So it was funny. So like Sunday Night Heat had a half-hour episode that night, and then afterwards they're like, all right, we're gonna go to the empty arena. It's gonna be halftime Heat, and it was just the one match. And then on Celebrity Deathmatch, you had Jennifer Lopez, I think, versus Dolly Parton in Tits versus Ass. That was the headline of the match. I'm not being sexist, totally, but that was like the tagline of the match. You also had Madonna versus Michael Jackson, and you had Mike Tyson versus Evander Holyfield.
Yep.
Okay. So WWE is just like, all right. Celebrity Deathmatch started as a halftime show last year. They ended up getting picked up for a full series. So let's compete with these fuckers, even though they're friends of ours, because we send Austin there all the fucking time. And let's do something. Let's do this cool match. That the whole empty arena thing was cool.
Yeah.
Now Rock controlled, like, it was probably a 20, 25-minute match. Rock controlled like 21 minutes of it.
Yeah, but the finish was dope.
Yeah.
The finish was dope. And him fucking attacking Mick Foley with food and shit and catering was funny as fuck. And him picking up the phone, SmackDown hotel call, they don't want your candy ass. And he had like just all the lines in that. That's a fun match to go back and watch.
Yeah.
And it was a good payoff for Mick to get the belt back.
Right.
I'll ask you guys this. What's your favorite multi-man title match?
Multi-man?
That's a hard one. I got a few. But go ahead, Doug.
I got mine, so.
One that comes to mind right away, and this isn't like a lot of people, the triple threat with DX and Cena.
Yeah.
Was that Survivor Series?
Survivor Series 09.
Yes. We'll definitely be using Doug for a lot of the dates here.
My favorite, and I mean, I have a couple, but like my all-time favorite would have to be Edge, Triple H, and Jeff Hardy from Armageddon 08, mainly because we were there.
Yeah, watching Jeff win the title.
Yeah. So that would be it. I also kind of did like the 6-pack challenge from Unforgiven 99.
Yes.
Yeah, that was good.
I was going to bring that up. Or
mine would be Armageddon Hell in a Cell in 2000.
Yes.
That was a good one too.
The Final Four?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I should have said that one. What the fuck?
With Vader and Bret Hart and Taker and Austin. That's probably the best thing Vader ever did in the WWE.
Yeah, and it was such a – because, again, they had to scramble at the last minute because that was only going to be to see who gets to wrestle Shawn Michaels, because Shawn Michaels was going to beat Psycho Sid on that Raw. And it's like, all right, who's going to wrestle Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania? And then Shawn Michaels shows up to the building for that Thursday Raw and says, oh, yeah, I can't do the match. My knee's screwed up. Damn. Or the way he tells the story is that he got a call from Vince saying, hey, there were some X-rays that were taken of you or something like that for some physical, like your ACL is missing.
Ooh.
And because over the years, when you have like a lot of like knee injuries and knee surgeries, your ACL, like the tendons and the cartilage deteriorates.
Yes.
So you could be, and especially like if you've like damaged your ACL and never really had it fully taken care of, it goes away. So there's like a lot of guys that are like 60, 70 years old right now that, that probably don't have an ACL.
Yeah.
Like a lot of football players and shit.
Yes.
Yep. A lot of basketball players too. So.
Yeah. So Sean's just like, yeah, Vince, my ACL has been missing for years. And he's like, well, we're taking you off the road. You got to go get it fixed. That's the way he tells the story. Now, Bret Hart tells the story by calling him a pussy.
That was the smile shit, right?
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
I can't find my smile. Because it was supposed to be Bret and Sean that year with Bret getting his win back.
Yeah, if that doesn't happen, the Montreal Screwjob might not happen.
Yep.
Yeah. Now, I actually like the whole, like if he would have just come on and said, my knee's screwed up, I can't. But the fact that he showed up on Raw like a month later and did a backflip.
I think that was just a fuck you to Bret because he knew Bret was talking shit.
Yeah.
So I think that was his little nye.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, that Final Four, because that was a one match pay-per-view. That was a one match in your house that Vince didn't even do the commentary for it. He let King and Lawler just do it, and he just stayed in the back on a headset and gorilla.
Yeah.
So, but no, that was another good one. That one I probably should have listed as my favorite, but
I mean, there's so many good ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, that triple threat with I also like, what was the multi-man match where Jericho got eliminated right away? Or was that for a world?
That was WWE title. That was Night of Champions 2010.
And that was like a multi-man elimination match. It was Jericho, Orton, Edge was in it.
Edge, Wade Barrett, John Cena, Sheamus was defending. That
was a damn good match.
Yeah, for that period in time, and you're told to go 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And Jericho's, who was probably
the one that could go the longest.
Yeah. And he gets eliminated within 2 minutes.
But that was so fun for his character at the time.
Yeah.
And his face.
Well, because they also knew he was leaving too.
Yeah.
And because originally the stipulation was he was going to leave the WWE if he didn't win the title.
Yes.
That night. And then he reneged on it because Vince talked him into staying at least another week. And so then he reneged on it. And then the next week on Raw, Orton wrote him off by punting him in the head.
That's right.
And he was leaving for his tour, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'm trying to, and I don't know if this necessarily counts as a triple threat match or not, but I really enjoyed this because I enjoyed the whole pay-per-view. But SummerSlam 2000 with Rock, Kurt, and Triple H.
Yes.
I know it necessarily doesn't count as a triple threat match because I don't think all three guys were ever really in the ring at the same time.
Yeah. It was so good, though. And the fact that what we know happened of Kurt getting concussed and everything. And in hindsight, you probably shouldn't have went back out there. But the match was fantastic. And even Kurt being able to do the spots and shit, it just showed what a pro he was.
Yeah, and that, like, when Triple H said, it said to Earl, he's like, find out, because, the referees had their earpieces in. And Earl had, of course, obviously the microphone in the shirt. He's like, Earl, find out if A, Kurt is okay, and B, when he can come back out here. Or when and if he can come back out here. And then Earl whispers over to him and was like, Kurt's not okay, but he'll be back out here when you need him.
But he is coming back. I fucking love Earl Hebner.
What about Triple H versus Stone Cold versus Mankind at SummerSlam 90?
Well, that was good, but the problem was Jesse Ventura. Because that should have been Triple H's moment. But Jesse Ventura, and we've covered, I don't know, did we cover SummerSlam on this platform or was it Blog?
I think it was
It might have been Blog Talk.
Okay.
But by the way, what you're about to describe, we saw it recently with him. But go ahead.
Yeah. The whole thing with him was he's in Minnesota. Now, Jesse Ventura, who has been a heel his entire fucking life, from the day he came out of his mother's womb to now, he has been a fucking heel. Okay. And he tells Vince when they're like, all right, Triple H is winning the title tonight. And Jesse's like, I don't think so, McMahon. He can't win the title tonight. Why not? Well, I can't count the fall for a heel. What? What, Jesse?
Who won that?
Mankind.
Yeah, Mankind.
Because
right?
Austin was going to take a few weeks off because his knees were banged up.
I remember that fit, and I remember us watching and be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Felt weird.
Because Jesse was just like, well, we're in Minnesota. We're in my hometown. I have to be a babyface, which, again, he's not.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's just like, oh, yeah. And so they're like, all right, Mick will win it. And then Mick was okay with dropping the title the next night to Hunter. Because originally, because they didn't want to beat Austin. That's why Mick was put in the match.
Yeah.
Mick was put in the match so he could take the fall.
Instead, he gets the fall.
Yeah, instead he won the fucking thing.
Was this before Jesse?
The fall anyway.
Was this before Jesse became governor?
No, he was already governor at that time.
Okay. So that's probably another
which is why he had to be a babyface.
Yep,
which I don't. A politician being a babyface is it's unheard of.
Yeah, and he does have the tendency to take
be an idiot.
Well, and also, there's a spotlight. Let me grab that.
Yeah.
We saw it recently at Saturday Night's Main Event.
We're going to see it again in July.
When they go to do the cage match with Damian and announcers, especially WWE announcers, they know when to talk and they know when they have to stop talking. When the guy's entrance comes out, you let the entrance play and you say a couple words, maybe, oh, this guy's a beast or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you start talking a little bit, in between the entrances and you start having more conversation. And then when the ring announcer starts, announcing it, if it's a main event or big match, you shut the fuck up generally.
Yeah.
And you let the ring announcer do his thing.
Not Jesse.
Jesse wasn't feeling it. And Jesse's like, I'm going to keep fucking going. And you can see Pat and Michael trying to cut him off and trying to get him to stop. And he's like, ah! And he just kept going. Well,
that's what politicians do.
Yeah, it is. Well, was it Mark Nash that was
No, it was Lillian.
No, it was a dude.
No, it was Lillian because Lillian does Saturday Night's Main Events.
Oh, okay. I could have swore it was a guy's voice, but I know she does Saturday night.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think he's going to do? Because I have a feeling he's calling Gunther versus Goldberg at Saturday Night's Main Event.
Yeah.
And that is going to, thank God we're out of town that week. Like, we're going to be out of town. Like, we're not going to be here that night. We're going to be in, in Western New York.
Yeah.
So hopefully we have stuff to do that night instead of what.
Don't get me on a rant with that match.
Yeah, which, by the way, you're saying all this stuff about Goldberg. You fucked over JYD's music for Goldberg's music 2 weeks ago, so fuck off. I don't want to hear
it. Fair enough.
Yeah, you're Mr. Oh, I don't think Jey Uso should win the title. And then, I don't think Jey Uso should have lost the title.
I never said he shouldn't win the title. I just didn't like his gimmick. I don't like his gimmick.
Yeah.
But you fucking ripped it off because you found out he's got the same birthday. Yeah. You ripped off the fucking name. Oh yeah. We have the same birthday, so
the same year, yeah.
Let me put my tongue in his butt crack now.
Hey, you would do the same if you found out somebody.
I do the same, but I also come by it honestly. I don't talk shit and then be like, "Oh yeah, this guy's the great."
You don't blow Cena that much.
No, not at all.
No, but Cena is not under the same year. You see?
No, he's not.
Not the same year.
I have that with Mr. Braun Breaker. We were born on the same day.
Nice.
Of the same year.
I still think we need to find out whether or not you two were switched at birth.
I don't know, but it bothers me because he's done a lot more in his. I don't know. His 27 years seems a lot better utilized, or at least his body does. But that dude's a beast.
Yeah, he is.
Actually, now you know what? Right now he's Seth Rollins' bitch. Maybe I am doing better. Fuck you. I'm just kidding. Don't eat me. He is the future of the business.
Who's that coming through the porch there?
Uh-oh.
I'm actually waiting for somebody. You got me all excited. But no, it's okay. But who is the most overrated WWE champion of all time? Overrated.
I think I know who does.
That's the one that was just Jinder Mahal is not a pick for this.
I wouldn't say overrated for Jinder Mahal. I would just say underwhelming for him.
Well, yeah.
But overrated?
Yes.
Does somebody want to go before me? Because I have a couple names in mind, and I want to see if you fuckers take them first.
I think I know one. You.
Well, so does nobody want to go first? They just want me to.
I'll go first, but I feel bad because first of all, this guy hasn't been doing himself any favors lately, and also, it's kind of like it's cool to dunk on him, so I don't really want to dunk on him. And I don't agree with you, and I don't agree with Sharon in the household. I am a disagreement that I do think this guy's one of the best to ever wrestle, and I do think his run is one of the greatest, runs. But I do think Ric Flair is an overrated WWE champion. He won it.
WWE, yes. World Heavyweight Champion, absolutely not.
Absolutely not. But we're not talking the big gold belt. We're talking the WWE belt. I think the way he won it in '92 was amazing, and I do think the match with Macho at WrestleMania was pretty good.
Yeah.
Everything else I don't even really remember. And what was the second run? It was only one title, right? Or was it two?
It was two titles. His second run was, all right, very quickly, which is an oxymoron when it comes to me. Macho Man, during his run as champion, was getting divorced. Elizabeth, after the European tour, when Jerry Sags farted on her, Elizabeth.
That a true story?
Yeah, Jerry Sags told the story, and then I told it on the podcast, and you two fuckers fell asleep.
I thought it was entertaining.
All right, so then maybe I'm mistaken or whatever. Anyway,
sorry.
So after that European tour, Elizabeth took off on Savage. She met another guy while helping babysit the Hogan kids. And then she decided she was going to take off from Miami permanently.
Wow.
Randy wanted time off so he could try to talk sense into her. Good luck. But Vince said, "You're the champion." No. So Randy was desperately trying to get that fucking title off him because he wanted time off. So,
which is crazy. The one shot he had.
Yeah. So then, well, I mean, again, this is his second reign.
I know, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. So the one shot to not be in Hogan's shadow, and his wife gets divorced. And by the way, he blames Hogan for that divorce. So they booked a match with Warrior at SummerSlam, and then Vince is just like, you know what? We're going to put the title back on Flair, and then we're going to find a new babyface. So he told Flair, because Flair had already told Vince, I think, in September, hey, I want to be gone in a few months.
Yeah.
Like, it's like this run just sucked. Even though I thought it was a decent run. Okay. But this run has sucked. I want to go back to WCW because I'm the king there. So they're like, all right. So they they're like, all right, Brett's really over in Europe. He's over here. He's over in Canada. We're going to be in Canada. So we're going to put the title on Brett. So Flair's reign only lasted like 40 something days the second time.
I'm going to say Dizzle.
Well, that was one of mine.
Oh, okay. So we agree on one.
What were you going to say?
Dizzle.
Well, he said Dizzle. Dizzle was one of the ones I was thinking of, but I have another in mind.
Who?
Can I guess?
You know what? I'm gonna say it because I'm a fan of him now.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
But I did not like him as champion back then. I'm gonna say Sheamus.
Oh.
Wow.
Now he grew on me. Okay.
I thought you've always been a fan of him from the beginning.
Well, he was a heel at first.
Can't be a fan of the heel. Fuck what these new age fans think.
Doug's a true. See, as much shit as you talk about Triple H, he would actually love you as a fan because he hates he's like, if you watch it as a critic, go fuck yourself. And that's how I watch. So he doesn't like me, but if you watch it as a fan, that's the way to do it. And
see, so when you interview for the booking job, you're gonna fuck yourself over. It's not gonna be my comments on the show.
Yeah.
Or at least that's what I'm gonna tell myself.
Well, me and Daniel are like the same when it comes to critic.
To an extent. Don't do that. To an extent.
We're too close to the kitchen with a steak knife.
We're pretty varied. You drink the Kool-Aid on some stuff a little more than I do, but
he's a Tang man.
Yeah. You drink the AEW.
So you're saying you're more critical?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, because I think I'm less critical on some stuff. I think we have varying. We are aligned a lot, but I think there are times where we differ.
Just that's fair.
And that's good. I mean, if the show would suck if it didn't. Yeah. That's why me and Doug, we have very different opinions on wrestling a lot of the time.
Yeah.
I think we have
Doug on some stuff.
I think all three of us have the same core values of what we enjoy in a wrestling product.
Values.
Yeah. But I don't think, but I do think that there's he doesn't like Cross. I see something in Cross. That's just the way it goes sometimes.
I see a pee break in him.
I align with Doug on Cross.
Yeah, and he likes Lyra a lot. I really didn't see it for a long time, and honestly, I'm starting to not see it again. I know there was a couple of weeks where she was getting over, and it's kind of gone.
I'm with you on Lyra too. So I'm with you on. I'm both.
Yeah.
Well, Lyra's thing now is that because now they're going to transition over to Bayley, I think.
Yeah.
So it's going to be one of those because the matches she had with Becky were fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the promo battles were not. The first one was very good, and then she did the same thing every single week, and she came across as whiny. And do you know? It's just like shit. It's like there's got to be a better way to get your point across.
Yeah.
The first time that when they went out there and they were going at it but then the second time she's like, "Shut the hell up, Becky," and it's like, this isn't really she's still got a ways to go on the microphone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great in the ring though. She is great in the ring.
But
I gotta say I like. Oh, sorry, Doug.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I'm liking this Becky heel run right now.
That's good. She's good.
Yeah, but Monday night kind of confused me when Lyra came out and she was going to go storm after Becky, and then Bayley came out, jumped her from behind, and Lyra had that look on her face like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah,
it made no fucking sense. But no, I would say Sheamus was a very overrated champion. I did not like either reign that he had. I liked his reign as world heavyweight champion in 2012. Okay, but the two reigns he had, John Cena falls through a table by accident in the first round.
Yeah, I remember that.
I don't know if it's the right finish for Sheamus, but I do think that's a creative, fun finish. I think if it was Cena and Miz, it would have played a lot better.
Well, that's the thing. You do that finish for Miz, it works.
Yeah.
You do that finish even for Jericho.
Yeah, but for somebody that's supposed to be this big Irish badass.
Yeah. Who had been bullying guys.
It was kind of a chicken shit way to win the title.
Yeah. That would even be a good way for the heel JBL to win.
Yeah.
To win the title.
But and I'm not, saying that that's a bad pick or nothing. I don't know if I consider it really overrated. Maybe the second one, but not really. It's hard for me to consider the first one because I put him in the same boat as Miz, as they weren't really ready yet. Because Miz and him both end up being great eventually.
Yeah.
But their title runs aren't because they weren't there yet. They were very green, both of them. Miz would be, because if we're talking about some of the worst reigns in history, I don't know if I would put Miz in that, but I don't think he had a great run as champion. And that's, you know, and but I think there was a lot of pressure, and it was pretty quick the way it went down. Like, he started getting good in 2009. He was champion by 11, right? Or 10?
A late 10, yeah.
So he, you know, but yeah, I would say I thought Flair's runs as champion were a bit overrated. If I were to put somebody else in the modern era in that, I'd have to go Big Show.
Yeah. That was another one. Well, because that was done last minute because Austin couldn't do the match.
Yeah, but didn't he have it? And I didn't mind it when he won it from Lesnar, but
then he drops it like a month later to Kurt Angle.
Yeah, that was a really good match.
Yeah.
Underrated champions.
Underrated?
Yeah, guys that didn't quite get a really good run that really didn't get the respect that it deserved.
Jeff Hardy.
Kofi.
That's a good one. He had a great match. He had a great match. The Randy Orton match was great. And the program with Dolph and it should have been me. That was good stuff.
Yeah.
I did. And Kofi got screwed. Screwed.
That's why I say that.
He got one chance to run. He did a pretty good job. They jobbed him in seconds and then back to the tag team division, bitch. Like it's like, what can you do? That's what they're like. We're gonna give you a chance. And
it was over.
Yeah, he was.
Well, I'm gonna give you another one, and a lot of people are gonna come at me. Which, by the way, there's nothing more dangerous than a man in a chipmunk T-shirt. And Scooby-Doo boxer shorts, by the way. I'm going to say Sid.
Ooh, that's a good one.
And the reason why I say Sid is because even though he, had 2 short reigns, he wrestled Brett in that it was a pretty good match at an Inger house. First of all, the match where he beat Shawn for the title, I actually thought was pretty decent.
Yes.
Then he wrestled Brett. And then when he beat Brett for the title again to start his second reign, I thought it was pretty good. I mean, yeah, the match with Taker might have stunk, but I thought he, big guy with the title. And he was even though they wanted him to be a heel, he was still over with the crowd. Doing the fist bumps and shit.
Oh, yeah. When he that match against Shawn, he was the baby face. The second one. Right, or was it the first one?
The first one when he won the title from Shawn.
The second one was in San Antonio.
And he was not the babyface then.
Yeah.
But the first one when he beat Shawn in Madison Square Garden, like he hits Jose Lothario with a television camera.
Yes.
And they're still cheering him. And then he hits Shawn with the video camera, and they're still cheering him, and they powerbomb him, and you have all these people holding out their fists, doing the fist bumps and all that.
I always liked him as a baby face because he did the fist bumps.
Yeah.
I know he did it as a heel too, but yeah, I would agree.
Well, he's also a germaphobe. That's why he did the fist bumps. He was like one of the first people to instead of, which by the way, germaphobe and you're a sweaty man who locks up with other men doesn't necessarily make sense. I mean, you're not soaping their butts in the shower like JBL used to, but but that's why he always did it. He was like one of the original people that came up with instead of shaking hands and all that, let's bump fists.
Yes.
But yeah, I thought he was underrated. Obviously, I think Jeff Hardy was underrated because I felt like Jeff could have done more, but it was also Freddie Prinze Jr. is the one that suggested that he be champion. And then the next week, Freddie's told, oh, yeah, you're not needed in creative anymore because you're fired. And it wasn't even by Vince. It was by Triple H and Stephanie.
That sucks. Yeah, Jeff Hardy was a damn good.
I'm going to say
she fired Bruce Pritchard one week and Freddie Prinze Jr. the next week.
What's a resume?
Because she fired Bruce Pritchard because everybody was going to her. Everybody was going to Bruce and asking his opinion, and he said, well, let me go to Vince. And she's like, no, you're supposed to come to me, not my dad. And Bruce is just like, Steph, I'm more familiar with your dad. Okay, you're fired. And then the next week, Jeff Hardy should be WWE champion because his merch sales are through the roof. Oh, I don't know about that. Can we trust him? And he's just like, dude, like all you have to do is just put it on him for a few weeks and then take it off him. Okay. And then the next week, Stephanie fires Freddie Prinze Jr. Yeah. Don't mess with her, man.
I'm trying to think of another guy who's underrated. Would you say, Daniel, since you're a big fan of this guy, would you say AJ Styles one of his reigns?
100%. 100%. That was my pick. I
would say he's second one more than the first, right?
He still gets talked about to where like they're like AJ and WWE's like good, but his TNA stuff. But it's like, dude, he was a WWE champion. And I do think that and by the way, like year runs too. Long runs. At least the first one was pretty long.
The first one was 3 months. The second one was a year.
Yeah, that's what I meant. The second one was pretty long. The first one was good though too. And then he lost to Cena at Royal Rumble. I always enjoyed him as WWE champion. I don't think it gets talked about because it was such a down period in the business. Because that's when WWE was getting pretty bad. That's when we wanted AEW. That's when we wanted an alternative because WWE was so bad. And I was like, dude, it's AJ Styles. And they're like, yeah, but the product still sucks. He was putting on good matches, but nobody else really was. And there was a lot of dumb shit going on. So I think that's why he doesn't really get looked at.
Yeah.
And that, but I do think he's an underrated WWE champion. And I do think like he's not a top 10er or nothing, but he did have a pretty good entertaining reign with good stuff in it.
Yeah.
And he saved us from gender.
He did.
I hated
the
that.
Stuff with Nakamura, I think, really gets because the original plan was to put the title on Nakamura.
Yeah. They should have just did that at that SummerSlam.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you drop the golden goose on his head, Undertaker did the same thing. Well, he didn't technically do the same thing. Hogan said he did the same thing. I was about to say
that wasn't real.
All right. Like Undertaker, Hogan told people Undertaker did the same thing to him. And then, Undertaker watched the tape and he went to Shane McMahon. He's like, Shane, I didn't drop him on his head. Like, I didn't hurt him. Like his head barely touched. And Shane looked at him and said, you do know Hulk can be a piece of shit, right?
Shane McMahon said that at that time?
Yeah.
That's funny.
And Undertaker's just like, well, I'm realizing that now.
Yeah. That's why. And it sucks that his podcast is a WWE podcast now. And Michelle McCool has, found herself in another thing and replaced somebody. And that the guy that was doing it with him's gone, that Matt, and now we got him.
Well, if Matt would have just put on shoes.
Now we got him and the wifey, and it's a WWE official podcast. And but one of my favorite parts of that was when he was talking about Hogan getting booed, and he was so happy about it. And they're like, dude, and they're like, so how did you feel? And he's like, he's like, I wasn't mad. And he was just like, shit comes back sometimes, if you're an asshole, it'll get you. And he's like, he was pitching his beer backstage. He didn't fucking know what was going on. But the Undertaker was funny talking about that. But, and what were we talking about?
When Nakamura dropped Cena on his head.
Yes.
And then Vince is just like, you almost killed my golden goose, pal. You're jobbing the gender at SummerSlam.
All right, champions that should have had more time.
That should have had more time?
Yes.
I'm going to say Edge's first run.
Yeah. That's a good one.
I'm going to say Kofi again.
That's a good one.
He had 6 months.
Yeah, but he never got back there.
I mean, the way he lost it.
Well, that you're losing to a lazy fuck who only wants to work, who only wants to work 6 seconds a night, but he wants to get paid like he worked 6 hours that day.
Who's this?
Brock.
Yeah.
I said lazy fuck. You didn't figure out it was Brock. What'd you think? I was talking about Roman?
I don't know if Kofi and Nash had a match or something. But Roman's not lazy, though.
Well, TKO thinks he is.
Yeah. Where they're cutting his shit.
Yeah, well, that's what they want to cut. Roman Reigns, and this is just my opinion. Roman Reigns is not coming back to the company until TKO stops calling him and asking him to take a pay cut.
Yeah,
now,
he was just on the cover of your video game. You know, like that's the guy.
Now,
Shouldn't be taking a pay cut.
Huh?
He's the one guy that shouldn't be taking a pay cut.
Yeah. Now,
John Cena.
Well, the thing is, Eric, is that TKO says you don't work a lot. You're making $15 to $20 million a year, but you don't work that much. If you don't work that much, you do not deserve that kind of money.
Yeah.
He's the most over guy.
Yeah, he's a starter when he's there.
And I'm not disagreeing with that, but here's what Roman has to realize. When they quit calling you, that means you're fucking fired. Like, it's basically what that's going to mean. Is that like, all right, they're done trying with you. They're going to pull an Eric Bischoff and they're going to sing a fucking pink slip via FedEx.
I think Roman's made the money, though. I think he's fine. I think Roman.
I mean, I don't think The Rock would let them fire his cousin, would they?
No, they're not going to get rid of Roman. That's the one thing I'd be confident.
It's blood.
I'd be very surprised if they did. That's what I was
Well,
saying.
I mean, and that's the thing is, even though like they're still, they are related, but they still want him to take the pay cut. Like, I don't know, like, would Rock try to stop that? Or, because, again, I don't think Roman Reigns is coming back on television as long as they bother him and tell him, take the fucking pay cut.
Now, how much a pay cut do they want him to take?
That I don't know. Their financial advisors will not call me back.
They didn't get back to you?
No.
Those sons of bitches.
I mean, if it's 10%, then maybe that's...
I'm going to go... For guys that I think should have had a little more time with the belt to develop and stuff, I'm going to go with Kane.
Yeah.
Because I think Kane in the Attitude Era, when he won that belt for a day, I think he could have had a way longer run than Doug. I know you're in the heat of the Stone Cold stuff, so you don't really want to have an...
But I agree with you.
Yeah, and I know this was kind of his own doing, but RVD, too. And I know that was probably never meant to be a big run anyway, but...
No, he was supposed to lose it the next. He wasn't supposed to lose it on July 4th, but he was going to lose it on July, I think 15th.
Yeah,
at that Saturday night's main event.
And they try to paint it that like, oh, he got caught with weed and then he ruined his push, and it's like, nah, not really. He was never really going to hold the title that long.
You gave a title shot to Sabu, who, by the way, more than likely supplied the damn weed.
Yeah.
By the way, R.I.P. Sabu.
R.I.P.
We did a tribute show to him a few weeks ago, 100 views. Very highly viewed episode. But more than likely, Sabu's the one that supplied the weed.
Yes.
And two, like, he was basically given all of RVD's matches.
Yeah.
So, like, you're not going to punish him. It's just like, oh, well, we expect this from Sabu. RVD used to have a move called the 420 leg drop.
Yeah, but they didn't know what it meant. They thought it was a shoe size. That's Rey Mysterio.
Yeah. Well, he had the 420 leg drop even when he was in ECW. Before he used it with Ray. And Heyman knew what Heyman was supplying that with that shit backstage. That's actually how he paid most of his guys.
Heyman used to describe ECW as the wrestling product made by stoners for stoners.
See?
That's what the man said.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think RVD and Kane would have been very, they could have went longer.
Yeah.
What about when Ray won it that night against Miz, but then dropped it like an hour and a half later to Cena?
Yeah, I remember that one.
That was nuts, dude.
They did the same thing with Randy and Triple H. What was it, Night of Champions?
Yeah.
That one year?
Yeah, but both of them have like 30 fucking reigns between them,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ray has two disappointing world title runs. And then this WWE title run that, like I said, only lasted like an hour and a half because they wanted to get the title. I really think that if Punk, because Punk was legit gone, Punk was not coming back until he saw Triple H at Comic-Con and said, okay, I'm ready to work out a deal.
Yeah.
Because the plan was, okay, Ray's going to have Ray, we're going to give Ray the title. We're going to keep Cena away from the picture for a while.
Yeah.
But we're going to give Ray the title. And then CM Punk at Comic-Con says, okay, I'm coming back. So then Vince and Triple H tell Ray that night, it's like, oh yeah, remember that long reign we promised you?
It's ended tonight.
Your reign's going to be about 87 minutes.
He's like, I haven't even won yet. He's like, doesn't matter. It ends tonight.
Yeah.
What's the shortest reign ever?
I think his.
It might be that one. Unless, is there a Money in the Bank cash in on a recent champion? Did someone win the title fresh? Because Cena had already.
Rollins. Except Rollins cashed in on.
The match wasn't over yet.
Oh.
He made it a triple threat.
When Ambrose cashed in on Rollins.
Yes.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, and when Bryan got cashed in on too. Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is wage pedigree.
Yeah, because he had won the title too. So I think those would technically tie.
And when Edge cashed in on John Cena, right?
No,
he was already the champion.
Yeah, he had already been a champion for like almost a year.
Oh, okay. Okay. I didn't realize it was.
Poor Carlito got pinned with a roll up
in an elimination chamber match.
I love the story he tells about that, where he's talking about the finish. He's like, Cena, are you like, it's an elimination chamber? You're gonna finish me with a roll up? And he didn't know that Edge was coming out. And she's like, trust me, it's the perfect. It'll be fine. Trust me. And Curly's like, but why? Why are we doing it like this? But it makes sense in hindsight.
Yeah.
Still didn't make old Carlito look the greatest.
Not at all.
Yeah. There's a couple of ones. A couple of, when you talk about the guys that should have been champion or you wish you would have had a run, a lot of familiar ones come up, like Roddy Piper and Mr. Perfect and Ted DiBiase to an extent because he never really actually won it.
Razor.
Dusty, of course.
Yeah, Dusty, Razor. Perfect is definitely one of them. I'm still going to say, I'll say Davey Boy.
Yes.
I'm rude.
I know you're going to hate this, but he was never a WWE champion. Booker T probably should have got a run.
Yeah.
You know, I don't disagree with that. I actually think he should have beat JBL at that Survivor Series that year.
That would have been cool.
All right, because he had the momentum, and JBL actually wanted to leave because he had the job on Fox News, and he's just like, let me just go do that for 6 months.
Yeah.
And then it's just like fucking Orlando Jordan is getting hit with like scissor kick after scissor kick, but he no sells it and just he pulls the referee out of the ring like 10 fucking times. It's like fucking pour water on him and electrocute him like the Mountie did to Bret Hart that one time. Like fucking Orlando Jordan's fucking useless anyway. But
he never really panned out, did he?
No. And then but so Booker's definitely a good one.
Yeah, Booker probably could have been champion at some point. There's a few.
Yeah. The one thing I do want to talk about, because I saw this the other day, it's the first time I had actually watched it.
Yes.
Was Pedro Morales beating Ivan Koloff for the title. And by the way, Pedro would then go on a 2-year run as champion. Or 2.5 year, I think.
Wow. But
the way he won the fucking title was Ivan Koloff. It was a 15-minute match. It was a decent match. I mean, the tape was shitty, but also Jim Ross was doing the voiceover commentary for it. So it was something that was like, it was commentary that was done in like 2007, whatever it may be. Ivan Koloff takes him over in a belly-to-back suplex. It was not called German suplex back then because I think the Americans still hated the Germans. Even though World War II had been over for like 30 years.
Yeah.
So he pulls in the belly to back German suplex, but Ivan didn't bridge. because they didn't teach guys how to bridge out of a German suplex until 1990. And it's just, and I'm watching it, and then like Pedro rolls the shoulder over, and it's just like, did they not teach these guys how to fucking bridge? Like, is this just like such a like rare move to where it's just like, oh yeah, make sure your shoulders aren't down. Well, how the hell do I do that? Well, I don't know, figure it out. And it's just like, what the fuck?
It's a weird finish.
Oh, it's stupid. But no, 20 years later, we know how to counter it now.
Yeah.
It's like they watch that match, and then that's when Vern Gagne tells Brad Ragans, he goes, oh yeah, in your classes, make sure to teach them how to bridge. It's like all those wrestling trainers out there like, you know what, maybe we should figure out how to do a counter for that. No shit.
That's funny as fuck. This might be a hot take. Superstar Billy Graham, better champion than Bob Backlund.
He had more charisma than Bob Backlund did. Yeah, I mean, Bob was a better wrestler.
Yeah, but Superstar had some cool fucking matches, and it wasn't really about that at the time.
Yeah. Well, there's if you go on,
it was, but you know what I mean.
If you go on Peacock, there is a match. It's sometime in '77. It's on there. It's under the old school program. And it's Madison Square Garden. And it's a 2-hour and 4-minute show. But an hour of it is Superstar Graham defending the title against Mil Mascaras.
Yeah.
And the match, I think, went almost an hour.
Wow.
And it probably went almost an hour because that's probably how long it took for them to realize that Mil Mascaras had to take the fall.
No, yeah.
Now,
no, yeah.
I didn't necessarily see it because I did fall asleep, and I will go back and watch it again eventually. But, I mean, obviously, Graham retained the title, but it's just like doing an hour with Mil Mascaras. And which, by the way, in the 70s, it was not unheard of to go an hour.
Yeah. The Mil Mascaras could go.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, I found that to be very interesting. And this is after his matches with Dusty.
Wow.
Oh, it was after.
Yeah. So
did he go an hour of Dusty?
I don't know if he did.
Way.
No, not an hour.
No, he didn't go.
No. But yeah, it was funny.
Who's the greatest champion of all time at being a champion?
At being a champion?
At being the champion, the man, the guy. Who's the greatest of all time?
You know my answer.
You think Punk's the greatest WWE champion to ever walk the face of the earth?
Who? No.
Huh?
Stone Cold.
Okay.
I hate this bastard, but I'm going to say Hogan.
Ooh. Okay.
I mean, he started an era. I mean, he fucked over another promoter to start that era, but he still started an era. He's the one that made wrestling national.
He
That's
is.
true.
And I know this wasn't the most successful era, so it kind of would lose to your argument. But as a man that embodied the face of being the WWE champion and was the face of the company, I'm going to go Bret Hart. When Bret had the belt, it felt special.
Because he could wrestle.
Yeah, he put on great. That was when it was becoming, they're putting on great main events for this world title.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, Mr. Perfect comes out, put on an amazing match, and then Hogan, does 10 minutes. But
now, I did post this question in the Wrestling Through the Years Facebook group, and a lot of people said Bruno, and a few people called me stupid for asking that question because they're like, obviously it's Bruno, move on to the next topic. And I said, no, because I need to know everybody's answer.
I mean, Bruno had 2 long reigns.
Yeah.
yeah. But nobody was fucking alive for it.
Well, and the thing is that 2 long reigns, but that's been when the WWF was just a territory.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the WWF.
He wasn't a national world champion.
No. They ran Madison Square Garden, and they ran their TVs in Allentown. Or they ran the Northeast.
It's in the 70s. Nobody remembers the 70s.
What?
I say that was in the 70s. Nobody remembers the 70s, especially us because we weren't born.
Yeah. I lived in the 70s through all the classic sitcoms I used to watch. But like they were a small territory. When Hogan got there, it became national. Bret Hart, it was national. And also too, it helped that Bret Hart was Canadian and everybody loved him in Canada.
Yes.
Yep. All right. Austin was champion when people started watching again.
He made it cool again.
Yeah, because he got to beat up his boss.
Yes.
I think we had 3 great answers.
I agree. And there's other ones I like. I love The Rock, and I love The Rock in that era. He never really held the title that long, though.
No, it was only like he never held the title for longer than 4 months.
And you always forget Rock lost a lot back then.
Yeah. I'll tell you, Kurt Angle's first run with the title, back when it was still technically the Attitude Era, but he was starting to make it seem like it was more important to have a really good match.
Yeah.
Especially that 2001 Royal Rumble title match. By the way, that entire pay-per-view, the 2001 Royal Rumble, stacked.
Yes.
And you have China and Ivory.
I still liked it. It was better than fucking Maurice and Brie Bella from the Money in the Bank.
Yeah. But like that title match, even though it was 2 heels, they still put on one hell of a match.
Yeah, I like the match where he did Bella Magic actually with his brother, with Undertaker and the Godfather pants.
Oh yeah, that Survivor Series.
That was a good first reign, and you're right, it was making it more about matches. But that's when he was more chicken shit heel. When he was champion in 2003, that's when it was like, oh, every Kurt Angle WWE Championship match is a GOAT match. Like, it's a fucking amazing match.
Yeah.
And my favorite WrestleMania match, my favorite match period ever. I don't know if I can say that, but my favorite.
Well, you've killed the point now.
Yeah, I did. But my favorite WWE Championship match would be Eddie Guerrero and Kurt Angle from WrestleMania 20.
Yeah.
That was a big that was an awesome, amazing storytelling match that had everything. Had a great finish, had a unique finish. Eddie looked smart. Kurt looked badass. Everything about that match was great. And Kurt around that time could not put on a bad match. And even the WrestleMania match with Brock, even though it's known for a bot shooting star, that whole match is good.
And by the way, like Kurt already had a broken neck to begin with.
Yes. But it was a good match for both guys being pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you another. Ultimate Warrior winning the title from Hogan in WrestleMania 6 was a really good match. I know his reign sucked after, but here's the thing. Rick Rude was getting riddled with injuries. Macho Man was doing the stuff with by the time he got to Macho Man, like he didn't have the title anymore. But like when you're guys you're going against when you're champion are Ted DiBiase, who does not really work your style.
No.
Mr. Perfect, who again really does not work your style. They can bump for you,
yeah,
but you don't want to sell for them. And by the way, the only reason why he sold for Rick Rude is because Rick Rude slapped the shit out of him one night during a match and said, "Quit fucking around. Sell the goddamn move."
So good.
And Warrior started cooperating for him.
Yeah.
Or like, when he worked with Andre and he was too fast one day and Andre wanted him to slow down, but he wouldn't slow down. So when Warrior ran to him, Andre just stuck his fist out and Warrior ran into his fist. And then the next night they're doing the match. And then instead of Warrior running to him, Warrior comes up slowly and starts hitting him. And then Andre does the thing or whatever. And then Andre, backs him off, and then Andre shouts over to Heenan, and he goes, "He's learning."
That's funny as fuck. Andre's another one that never really got to be champion, and
they just used him for the one angle.
Yeah, and he kind of won the title, but
I thought he was champion.
Well, technically, he's the shortest reign.
Yes,
because he sold the title right away to DB. Which, by the way, 33 million people watched that match.
I think it's still the most viewed televised wrestling thing
ever. That's a record that can't be broken.
Yeah.
Because wrestling was so hot at that point, and Andre versus Hogan will always be the money match.
Yes.
It filled 93,000, even though that's kind of an alleged number. It filled 93,000 people in Detroit. And then it sold out of the building in Indianapolis, and then everybody sat at home, which is one of the reasons why they wanted to do it, because they were just going to do it as a Saturday night's main event.
Yeah.
And then Dick Ebersol went to Vince and was like, "Are you out of your fucking mind? This is huge. We can get a primetime spot for this." Because everybody knew who Andre was. Andre had already done Princess Bride.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody knew who Hogan was.
Yeah.
Why not fucking put him on, give him a main event slot, 8:00 on a Friday night? I don't know what the fuck aired Friday nights at 8:00 on NBC at that time. It wasn't any of their sitcoms. Back in those days, the sitcom nights were, and this is legit, I'm not just making this up, I don't think, but they're legit sitcom nights for NBC back around that time were Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And I definitely know Saturdays because that's when Golden Girls, because that's always the spot Golden Girls had.
Yes.
Which is amazing to me. A Saturday night when people are supposed to be just going out to the clubs, going out to eat, whatever, family nights or whatever the fuck. And you still have 30 million fucking people watching four old broads talk about getting laid. It was the top 10. It was a top 10 sitcom for 6 of the 7 fucking years they were on air. And it was a Saturday night. And it was 4 women who belonged in a fucking nursing home. And all they talked about, you had one talk about, the 3 guys she slept with within the last 24 hours. And you had an old lady talking about, you 3 women are the dumbest fucking people I've ever met. And still, it captivated an audience for 7 seasons, and for 6 seasons, it remained in the top 10 of the fucking television ratings on a Saturday night at 8 p.m. time slot, which is unfucking heard of.
If we ever did a sitcom tournament, it would probably be
Golden Girls.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You're a Golden Girls fan.
What were you saying, Eric?
I said if we ever did a sitcom tournament, it would probably be one of the best. It would probably be close.
No, Sean would fuck it up somehow.
I still can't believe Betty made it till 99.
That's the thing, and she was only 10 days away from turning 100.
Yeah, that's crazy. Wow. That's a run right there. No, that's a run.
Yeah. Bob Barker was a couple months away from turning 100.
Yeah.
When he passed.
Rest in peace to both.
Yeah. But yeah, no.
Two of the most beloved people ever.
Yeah. Like there was nothing, like I know Barker had that, kind of scandal in the 70s, but he outlived it. People quit talking about it by the end of the 70s.
Yeah. And Betty, there's never a bad thing ever said. There's still, and
if anybody ever said anything bad about Betty White, they would probably get killed by a fucking lynch mob.
Yeah, she is too. Yeah.
She was America's grandma.
Yeah, she was. She was so fucking sweet.
Would you say Bob was America's grandpa?
I mean, he was a part of a lot of childhoods, I think, and daytime television for a lot of years.
Yeah.
I mean, I cried when they both passed away. I'm not afraid to admit it. I mean, definitely when Bob Barker passed away.
Oh yeah,
he's still the best special guest host of Raw that there ever was.
Exactly.
Betty should have did one.
Well, she did the one episode of Raw, but like when she came on, this was like 2014, I think. 2014. And like during her opening monologue, Triple H and Stephanie were just like they were gonna let her have like an opening monologue of Raw, and then Vince is just like, nobody wants to see that old bitch. Like, get out there. You're the authority, god damn it. You take the first 30 minutes of Raw. It's like, all right, if nobody wanted to see her, why the fuck did you book her for the show?
No one wants to see that old bitch.
And then, but she had her moment later on when she put X-Lax in the New Age Outlaws coffee.
Oh, yeah. I forgot that's when they came back.
Yeah.
And you had the Outlaws in 2014.
Yeah. Getting punked by Betty White.
Them coming back and the Dudleys coming back was like, what era are we in? Yeah. What the fuck?
Eric's just a pair of eyes now.
Yeah.
Most anticipated WWE Championship match that you were disappointed by.
That I was disappointed by?
Yes. And I'll go AJ Shinsuke at that WrestleMania.
That's a good one. Eric, go.
Most disappointing?
Yeah.
That you were looking forward to, but you were disappointed by.
Oh, Brian Danielson. No, because that was the universe. That was combined championship. I was gonna say Brian Danielson, but ooh, this is hard.
Oh, I got it.
Who?
Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart from the Iron Man match at 12.
Good one.
You're infamously not a fan of that one.
No. You're wrestling 60 minutes, and yes, I know both guys can go 60 minutes, but 60 minutes without a fucking fall?
Yeah, that was poorly booked.
Like, I can understand 30 minutes without a fall.
Yeah.
Like, I get that.
Yeah, anybody can.
60? What the fuck?
It's like your guys' offense must really suck. No one can pin anybody for an hour. Another one that I thought had a lot of money on the table, and it seemed like, honestly, actually, I hate to do this, Cena and Cody.
Yeah.
Cena and Cody was disappointing, as much as I wanted to love it. And Cody Rhodes, I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Great year-long championship run. Damn good run. Not in the top 5 or nothing, but a good run. He was a good champion.
Damn good show.
I don't care.
I'm going to say Rock and Cena, too.
You were disappointed by that? I thought it was the better match.
Yeah. But I was still disappointed.
You didn't like either of them.
How about, I'm trying to think. Randy and Cena in 2008. The one where
Randy got DQ'd?
Yeah. The one that everybody shits on.
Didn't they shit on all their matches back then?
Honestly, that's one that gets talked about in as a good finish now, and they say it was creative in hindsight. People were bitching at the time. I'll give you a Randy Orton and Triple H from WrestleMania 25.
Yeah, that sucked.
And that's one that should have been great, and it was a great build-up, amazing feud. And it was like,
what about Savage and Warrior from SummerSlam '92?
Yeah, I could see that.
And only because it went like the 20-something minutes that you would expect them to go by, but you could just tell that the company shot themselves in the foot by doing the whole, where's Mr. Perfect's loyalties lie? Like it was like Flair's way of not, because they didn't do triple threat matches back then, which they should have, because Flair could have just been in it and the match would have been a lot better. But the whole, who bought Mr. Perfect's services? It's like, who gives a fuck? Like, and then he comes in there, and then like instead of people hitting him, he gets to hit people. But he's like, "Oh, I got a bad back. I got the Lords of London policy. You can't touch me. I would have hit you with my fucking car. All right, I can't touch you. All right, fine. Meet me out in the parking lot, and I'll hit you with the goddamn truck. It didn't happen. It hit you with a goddamn truck. You know, it didn't happen in the ring, so it shouldn't affect your fucking policy. But you hit me, motherfucker. I'm hitting you back somehow." Lloyd's in London can kiss my ass. But they don't insure wrestlers anymore. So because it got to the point where some of the wrestlers just got so pissed off, they're like, fuck this. Like Jim Neidhart, I think, is actually one of the people that actually like pissed off Lloyd's of London.
Yeah.
Because Rick Rude had a policy and you were not allowed to touch him. And Rick Rude like hit Jim Neidhart. And Neidhart's like, fuck you.
Yeah.
And then went to hit him back. And Rude's like, you can't hit me back. I have a policy. And then don't fucking hit me.
Yeah.
And then Neidhart just decked him.
That's crazy.
And then, 3 weeks later, Rude's in WCW. But, Savage and Warrior definitely from SummerSlam 92, because that was like two guys that I, really liked when I was a kid. And then it's just like, this is boring the fucking shit out of me.
Yeah.
I mean, even like, and then, a couple matches later, you have Bret Hart and Davey Boy Smith going at it for the Intercontinental title. I mean, Davey Boy Smith on crack still did a lot better than fucking Warrior and Savage. At least they kept you, invested.
Would you say Punk and Jericho as one?
That was 28, right?
Yes.
Their
match was all right.
It was good. I mean, the Chicago Street Fight was better.
Yes.
Or even Punk and Bryan. Didn't they fight?
Punk and Bryan had a bunch of matches, but none of them were disappointing.
No.
They were all amazing.
I mean, you had the one match where
Over the Limit match was really fucking good.
Yeah. And then they had the match at Money in the Bank, right? Where AJ was a referee and then she got taken out. And then,
yes.
Yeah. I think it was a year later after Punk beat Cena.
And then AJ got taken out, but she came in, she counted the fall, and all the referees were just were checking on her, making sure she's okay. And all Punk's doing is celebrating in the corner, and he acted like he did not give a fuck that AJ was hurt, even though he was dating her at the time and about 2 years away from fucking marrying her.
I can't believe none of us said that Brock was overrated as champion. I was just thinking about
which reign?
Any of them. He's been champion. I think he's an overrated Universal champion, maybe.
I think he. Oh, the thing is that if you really, if you really go back and think about it,
yeah,
the champion should always be a special attraction.
Yeah.
The champion shouldn't have to wrestle on every television program, and the champion shouldn't have to appear at the house shows.
Yes,
Brock took full advantage of that. Okay. Now, was he a dick about it? Yes. But he was being that old school champion to where it's just like, I don't need to be at every fucking show.
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't help when, you garner your interest for the television, or you garner your interest for pay-per-views via television.
Yeah.
It was like back in the day, like all Hogan had to do was a fucking like vignette or a fucking promo in the event center talking about, what you gonna do, Andre the Giant when I drop the big leg on you, and all that, and that got people hyped up.
Yeah. But
because they don't do those type of promos anymore.
No, not to the extent like that.
Yeah. And like you have to go into the ring on television and cut a promo, or do like a backstage segment or an in-ring segment,
which I hate, by the way.
Yeah,
I love. Maybe that's the old school in me, even though I'm the youngest one here. But I like a guy in the backstage saying how he's going to kick this guy's ass.
Yeah.
I like that. I don't always like the face-to-face. The promo battles can be fun when you have two guys that can really talk, but a lot of it's just like personal jabs, and it gets like kind of ass.
Yeah. I mean, you have plenty of people back then. Like, if you wanted to do a 1-hour television program where, like then, like you do like a couple matches, but then you do a segment where you have somebody in the back saying, running down the card, and then you cut it to somebody doing an interview.
Yeah.
Whether it be somebody holding the microphone, because you have enough people working in that company to hold the fucking microphone.
Yeah.
All right. Jackie Redmond, when she decides to come back, because this year the NHL basically told WWE she's working the fucking Stanley Cup playoffs, Stanley Cup finals, whether you want her to or not, you fucking assholes. It's legit. Last year she was forced to miss Game 7 because it was on the same night as a Raw, and WWE said, "No, you're working us."
Yeah.
She hasn't been on WWE Raw. She wasn't at Money in the Bank. Yeah. Vic Joseph filled in for her.
Kathy Kelly?
Jackie Redmond.
Oh, okay.
She
kind of interchangeable, if we're being honest.
Well, they're both hot, yeah. Jackie's just Tanner.
Yes. Don't they both do other things or no?
Jackie does. Jackie's on NHL Network.
Yeah, doesn't Kathy as well, or is she just a W lady?
I think she's just on WWE.
Okay, go ahead.
So, but like last year, they made her work the Raw that was the same night as Game 7. This year, NHL, I'm pretty sure, was just like, she's working the fucking Stanley Cup playoffs. If you try to take her, we're going to kick you in the fucking balls. And she hasn't been on Raw or any WWE programming in the last month. She has been solely focused on covering the fucking playoffs.
That's okay.
Well, Game 4 is tonight, so you can see her tonight.
Yeah. I mean, and again, I'm not complaining. Like, she is very good.
Yeah.
All right. And hockey is like her strongest sport. So, there's no complaint about that. I just find it funny how, like, ever since WWE was technically, like, really taken over by TKO, like, Triple H's balls had basically been trapped in a vice. Triple H's balls right now are swollen in a vice grip.
Yeah.
Because he's like, Vince used to be like, "Fuck you, pal. This is what we're doing." And Triple H is just like, I would rather have it this way. Well, this is the way we're going to do it. Okay.
Well, I mean, also, it's not his company. It's his creative, but it's not his big conglomerate.
Yeah.
Vince was in a unique position that no one's ever going to be in again. Tony's kind of in it. Tony Khan's kind of in that position.
Yeah,
but he's not nearly enough of an asshole to take advantage of it.
Well, and that's the thing, though, is that, like, he has no problem because he's on Warner Brothers Discovery, where because the NHL Stanley Cup Finals is exclusive right now to Warner Brothers Discovery. It's on TNT, it's on Max, it's on True TV or whatever.
Yep.
That's why they ran 4 hours again last night.
Yeah.
Even though they didn't have a fucking game last night. Well, no, they have a game Saturday.
Okay.
So they can't run Collision on Saturday. That's why.
But I don't understand why they did it last week, because there was no Stanley Cup last weekend.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They only ran Friday, right?
Yeah, it was the game.
Well, wait, didn't NBA have games?
NBA had their game 2 on Sunday.
So I don't know. Maybe they just wanted to punish people 2 weeks in a row by running 4 hours. But I'll tell you who is, and we haven't really mentioned him at all, or much. Yokozuna.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was like the heel champion for the new generation.
He was, and he had to do that stupid thing for Hogan.
Yes.
But then when he got the title back, and then he was the bad guy, he hated America, which, by the way, both him and Mr. Fuji were born in Hawaii.
Yeah. They were good.
Which, by the way, Hawaii is a U.S. state, by the way. Even though you can't fucking drive to it, it is a U.S. state.
Cornette was talking about something recently about giving somebody an Asian gimmick and putting him with Yokozuna. And I can't remember what he was talking about. But
he was the American spokesperson for Yokozuna.
No, I know, but he was saying that somebody else, that they had an idea. No, it was one of Vince Russo's ideas.
Oh, hell.
He was going to make the Patriot. He was going to turn the Patriot into a Japanese sympathizer and then put him with Yokozuna. and Bruce is like, and Brian, his co-host, was like, "Let me get this straight. They were going to take the Patriot, make him a Japanese sympathizer, and put him with Yokozuna." And then and Cornette's like, "Who's Samoan?" It's like, so it would be an Asian sympathizer group with nobody in the group actually being Asian.
Yeah. Which, by the way, also wouldn't have worked because Yoko wasn't even allowed to be on TV back then.
Yeah, that's when he was real big.
Yeah, they could not get him licensed. Because the thing is back in the days, and like now that like everything is like sports entertainment, although like the state of Maryland, they still make you get a license to wrestle.
That's crazy.
The Maryland State Athletic Commission, you could say, "Oh, we're sports entertainment." Doesn't matter. Get a fucking wrestling license, assholes.
Yeah, Maryland don't fuck around.
Yeah.
I don't think WWE goes there that much, do they?
Baltimore, no. I don't even think AEW really goes there that much anymore after Chris Cruz fucked them over.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't remember the last wrestling event in Washington or Baltimore.
Well, Ring of Honor used to call Baltimore a stronghold, and then there was an issue, I think with Chelsea Green. She broke her arm, but she was supposed to wrestle, and she told everybody she can go, and the Maryland State Athletic Commission said, "No, fuck off. Like, you're not wrestling. You have a broken arm."
Yeah.
"I could still work." "No."
No. You act like it was you.
I don't think the UFC even goes to Baltimore.
You don't think who?
UFC.
Oh, no, they wouldn't be able to fucking do that.
It's not Vegas or Saudi Arabia.
Well, here's the thing,
it's
too.
Not a place with infinite money.
The Maryland State Athletic Commission has rules. Dana White is not necessarily a rules guy unless they're his.
Yes. Good at making rules.
Yeah.
And breaking them.
Yeah. Like, he's like, bald people don't like to follow rules. I mean, I do. I'm probably the exception to the rule.
I was going to say, wait. You're talking about yourself too? No.
I follow rules.
No, I know you do.
I follow.
You're just like Dana.
Yeah. Well, even the stupid rules I follow, except for when I worked with Eric, I broke every rule that I was given to me because I thought they were all dumb. But yeah, like Yokozuna was one of those champions. Like, I actually enjoyed some of the stuff he did with Lex.
Oh, I love the Lex stuff and the Survivor Series match, right? Was it Survivor Series?
Well, he had the one-on-one match with him at SummerSlam.
And that's when Lex won by countout?
Yeah.
And everyone thought he won the belt.
Yeah, because of the way he was celebrating.
Yeah.
And the shitty part was they actually, because the celebration took like 20 minutes or something like that in the ring, they made Yoko lay down on the fucking floor.
Yeah.
For 20 minutes. They're like, sell it for 20 minutes.
He's just laying there like, are we done yet?
Yeah.
He won by countout. He's not even the fucking
yeah.
champ.
And then like the Fuji and Cornette are just like, well, by the way, they're not going to pick him up. And they're just like, wait, can we leave? Are the cameras off? Can we go now? Cornette's like, God damn.
Fuji and Cornette was a hell of a combo.
Oh my God.
That was a combo right there. I like Cornette with Vader.
Yeah. But Fuji and Cornette, you talk about the makings for a fucking sitcom.
That would have been hilarious. Okay.
I thought Vader should probably had a longer reign.
Who?
Vader?
He should have had a reign.
Yeah.
He didn't get the reign.
Oh.
No. Because he was supposed to win when Sid won.
Okay.
But he had the match at Royal Rumble with Shawn when he was going too slow. And if you watched the Royal Rumble 97 or 96, Rumble 96, right?
No, Rumble 97 is when Sean won it in San Antonio.
96 is when is him and Vader on pay-per-view?
Sean and Vader?
Yeah.
SummerSlam 96.
SummerSlam 96. And if you go back and watch that match, Sean yells at Vader a few times. Or like when he goes to hit the elbow, but he lands on his feet because Vader's supposed to get out of the way, but he doesn't. And then he's like calling him stupid and shit.
Yeah.
And then Vader's push kind of got killed there because he messed with the Golden Goose. But yeah, he was supposed to get the title. He was supposed to get Sid's run, but he didn't.
That sucks.
Yes, it does. Vader in WWE is a sad case.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. Let's wrap it up talking about 3 more of our favorite WWE Championship matches.
I mean, one each, or we each give 3?
I'll give 3.
I'll go last.
Fucking asshole. We can't say any of the WrestleMania matches.
No, you can't.
Savage Flair from WrestleMania 8.
Okay.
This is gonna sound kind of weird, but I'm gonna say Austin Kane from that Raw, where Austin won the belt back. And the old school in me has to say it. Warrior Hogan from WrestleMania 6.
Okay. Very good. I'm going to go Iron Sheik Bob Backlund because I think Ernie Scullen throwing in the towel was a huge moment.
Yeah.
And a business based on moments. That was one of the first big moments, in my opinion. So
that they got to see on a national scale, yeah.
Yes. So I'll put that one in there. Kurt and Brock from that SmackDown in 03. I forget what the day was.
The Iron Man?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was for the title, wasn't it?
Yeah. Brock won the title back.
And that was a great fucking match.
Yeah.
That was epic. Epic. And even though it ended bad, Rock and Austin, WrestleMania 17.
Right.
It's hard to beat that. But also Cody and Roman. Cody and Roman right up there. And let me give my boy his flat. And by the way, Roman had a great title run. We don't want to. There's some champions that we didn't talk about too much, but Triple H, an amazing WWE champion.
Yeah.
Roman Reigns, an amazing WWE
Jinder Mahal. Yeah.
Jinder Mahal didn't do so good.
Jinder, no way.
Is he the worst champion ever?
Yes.
No. Who is?
Nah, are you talking like as far as just like
that lasted a day, but like who's the worst WWE champion ever?
Like draw wise?
Just the worst, in your opinion.
Diesel. All right, and I like Kevin Nash.
Yeah.
But I think the guys he was put with, really, because the Shawn match could have been better.
Yes.
His Brett stuff was really good, but then he works with Sid and he works with Mabel.
Yeah.
All right. Him and Sid didn't have the chemistry yet.
No.
They would get there in WCW. But then Mabel, like a guy who hurts people because he doesn't know how to, turn down seconds at the family barbecue.
I would go Goldberg because he should have never won it.
Was
that the Universal?
That was Universal.
So Braun won the Universal?
Yeah.
Strowman?
Yeah.
Okay. Never mind that. I thought that was the WWE. No, because Fiend had the red belt. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then Goldberg's off the table.
Yeah.
Good for Goldberg. I don't know. Jinder might be the worst, man. I mean, I like some because Kevin Nash still had some good matches.
Yeah, he had Shawn and he had Brett.
I don't know if Jinder. I mean, Jinder's Randy Orton feud was fun.
Yeah.
It was.
My 3. No.
Yeah, go ahead.
Austin Rock, obviously 17 and 15. I'll say that.
Okay.
Obviously Roman and
Sounds
Cody.
like a mouse is in here.
Roman and Cody, because I was there. Sorry, but
You fucking asshole. Yeah, well, we saw LA Knight win the U.S. title from Shinsuke Nakamura, so fuck you.
and
Even though we were with somebody who was cheering for Nakamura to win.
The only person in a 16,000 seat building.
Cheering for Nakamura to win because she didn't like the fact that a 5-year-old said Shinsuke should go back to China. First of all, they don't start teaching geography till 2nd grade.
It isn't.
That's hilarious. And
they don't teach geography till 2nd grade. It's the truth.
No. What your sister said.
Oh, she freaked the fuck
out. No, what that kid said.
Well, it's an insensitive thing to say, but the kid was 5.
No, that's why I'm laughing.
Their brains don't fully. Well, fuck, I'm almost 40 and my brain still hasn't fully developed yet. There's actually there's a hole in the back of my scalp here where it's probably leaking out right now.
And LA Knight lost the belt anyway.
Yeah.
Poor LA Knight.
And I'll throw in the Armageddon Hell in a Cell. I love that match.
That is a great match.
Yeah.
That is a very good
That was a fun match.
Some of the matches Kurt and Cena had for the title before Kurt left were very good, too.
Yeah. That Unforgiven match, and then, like, the next night when Bischoff was going to hand Kurt Angle the WWE title.
Yeah.
It's like, he attacked me, Mr. McMahon, and Vince McMahon's just like, you win a title by pinfall or submission. And it's just like, Vince, you've fucked over many people before. So.
Like pinfall or submission or telling Earl Hebner to ring the bell. That's how you win a title.
Oh, another guy that probably should have won it, William Regal.
Oh. Only if he did it as the real man's man.
I don't know if he ever really got there to where he could have been a main event credible champion. He was getting there in 08, though, before the drug pop. Because that was drugs, right? When he got popped.
Yeah.
Because he was the King of the Ring run in 2008. He was actually starting to kill it.
When he was still general manager, too.
Yeah. He was doing good shit.
Which, by the way, I like him as an authority figure.
He's so good.
He was good.
And he's one of the better geniuses in the behind the scenes. We don't know how much shit he's came up with. And he's like scouts all sorts of fucking people. He's like good friends with Triple H and like a liaison for Triple H that helps get talent and shit. So Regal's another one that's going to have a job for life.
Yeah, pretty much.
He got to vibe in AEW when Vince told him to fuck up for a bit. Then his buddy got back in and he's like,
Yeah, but then the week he comes back, that's when Vince is just like, I'm back, bitches. And now...
That's the one person that AEW. I mean, he wasn't gonna stay, but that's one person that maybe could have helped Tony Khan.
It could have, but he was clearly just there to.
He was just there just to wait and see if Vince either died or
so he could go back.
Retired.
Exactly. He was just a helping hand.
You know, when we do the show and he does the show in the dark, it kind of reminds me of back when I was a kid and we used to see the raccoons. Just the raccoon eyes just peer out of like the fucking out of the trees and they're waiting for us to drop food so they can just go in there and pick it up. It's like
you can still see me, right?
Barely. Well, I can see you now because your face is up against the fucking screen. But when you're leaning back, all I see are these fucking raccoon eyes. It's like you're doing the show out of witness protection.
It probably feels like that sometimes. But all right. This was a lot of fun, guys.
Yes, it was.
I enjoyed this conversation.
So did I.
And I think Eric did as well.
Me too. I definitely enjoyed it.
Good. You ready to hear what we're going to be doing next week?
I am waiting with anticipation.
We're going to review Evolution 1, since Evolution 2 is coming soon.
Ooh.
The first ever women's pay-per-view Evolution.
Okay.
That's going to be interesting because it was an interesting show.
We get to see Nikki Bella and Ronda Rousey, baby. Every fan's dream.
Can I skip that one?
No.
You got to watch the whole thing. You got to be.
Okay.
What was the match that wasn't Becky and Charlotte on that?
Yeah, it was the last man standing.
Yeah, that was good shit. I remember that.
And Sasha was on that, right?
I think she worked a 6-woman.
Yeah.
Oh.
And that was it. That was the pay-per-view where it was supposed to be Alexa and Trish. And then
okay.
And
it ended up fucking Trish and Lita against Alicia Fox and Mickey James, and Mickey had to walk fucking Alicia through the whole match.
Yeah, because like they thought they're like, all right, Alexa can work a tag and still be okay. And the doctor's like, no, Ronda Rousey fucked her up too much. She can't fucking like if she goes in there, she's going to get seriously hurt. Like she cannot work. Because Ronda Rousey's a dumb shit.
And Trish is still good when she comes back now.
Yeah.
Like her tag thing with Tiffy was good. Trish is a pro. But all right, guys, we'll see everybody next week.
Eric, you'll take care of the shorts, please.
Absolutely. You guys enjoy your time with your dad.
Thank you. What's going to be going on Saturday for the cartoon show, Dougie?
All right. This Saturday, join myself, Eric, Dave, and Cleet Blakeman for the he's the referee who fucked over the Buffalo Bills in the AFC Championship game. And Dawn has done a couple of fuck jobs on the shows. Ninja Turtle, and also two X-Men should technically still be in the tournament. But
look how last week you spoiled it because you were like, by the way, somebody fucks over something.
Yeah, that's probably why we only got 6 views. But so this week it is the first semifinal matchup. It is Pokemon versus Rugrats.
Two of my favorites.
So Eric was very torn in this matchup. The winner goes on in a couple weeks to face the winner of next week's battle between Batman the Animated Series and The Simpsons.
Yep.
Even though
we'll be back live next week.
Yeah, we'll be back live next week. Saturday or tomorrow's will be pre-recorded. Or already was pre-recorded, but yeah, so that's gonna be a big one. And then of course starting in July will be the Animated Anarchy series. We get into all that on the episodes, and I'm not gonna get into it all here because it's usually a 10-minute explanation.
Yeah, we'll probably take another 20 minutes.
And we will see everybody next time. We love you guys, and we love you, Eric. Bye-bye.
Love you. Happy Father's Day to everybody.
Thank you.